What is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today we're going to take a bite right out of Apple. I mean, they've made some huge announcements, they just did quarterly earnings, and I do believe they just did dividends as well. This stock is phenomenal, and you guys know how I feel about Apple. So if you're interested in really finding out more information on this stock, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. Really give you a perspective on the quarterly earnings and how they beat the expectations that were set and placed during the coronavirus, pandemic. So basically they were projected to be down anywhere from 2 to 3%. Certain people said 2, certain people said 3. But what they actually did is they came out and were up 11% through one of the worst pandemics, if not the worst pandemic in history, and potentially one of the biggest recessions, if not the biggest recession in history. So we're going to swing on over here. What I'm going to provide you is a perspective of quarter 3 of 2019 to quarter 3 of 2020. And it's going to be an eye-opener. So swinging on over here, quarter 3 2019, this is going to be for iPhone sales. So in quarter 3 2019, they had 26 billion. In quarter 3 of 2020, they had 26.4 billion. That is a 2% change. Now moving to the Mac. In quarter 3 of 2019, they sold $5.8 billion worth. And in quarter 3 of 2020, it was 7.1 billion. That's a 22% change. iPad sales. In quarter 3 of 2019, they had 5 billion. In quarter 3 of 2020, 6.6 billion. That's a 31% change. Now guys, these are big changes. Wearables, home, and accessories. Now I did a video, as you guys can see right here, on what it would take to get Apple to $500. And what is absolutely insane is it's almost to fruition. I honestly think that if they didn't announce the 4-to-1 split, there's a chance it still could have hit the $500, and it still can. But the reason I broke off on this little tangent is because in that video I spoke that they would almost have to hit the numbers that they hit during the peak season of like holiday time, Black Friday, Christmas sales, things like that in the wearable industry in order to really push this thing to the limit to get to the $500. So the wearables and home accessories in quarter 3 of 2019 was 5.5 billion. They in quarter 3 of 2020 were at 6.5 billion. That's a 17% change. That's exactly what they needed. And services in 2019 quarter 3 was 11.5 billion, and in quarter 3 of 2020 13.2 billion. That is a 15% change. Now guys, I want you to let that set in. Obviously, we're talking about one of the biggest, if not the biggest, overall tech company in the entire world. And they are making moves, dramatic moves, during a pandemic and a major recession where people are out of jobs. The United States economy took a monster hit. GDP is down. I mean, you got to think about all these things, and somehow, some way, Apple managed to really just give it a punch and show, everyone, hey, we can do it no matter what. I think it's important to understand too on the significance of Apple products in the current state we're in. So if we're working from home and we obviously are social distancing still, the coronavirus is obviously still peaking, hitting new numbers in majority of the states across the United States. That's when Apple products and even other products, obviously Microsoft is one, but we're talking about Apple. Think about how many people are going to be using the iPads the Macs, the iPhones in general. I mean, the services that Apple provides. You know, there's so many things that Apple products can provide during this pandemic that businesses can capitalize on to still keep communication flowing, to still keep the business, you know, functioning properly and continuing to be profitable. And Apple can continue to provide those products to those businesses to remain successful and into the future, because obviously the future is going to be changing with this pandemic. That's very key to keep in mind. Please know that I love providing you with news and supportive evidence on why you should invest into a stock. I don't think that I need to do that here. I mean, a company that is valued at $2 trillion and is continuing to, you know, climb and be worth more than $2 trillion, and is doing a stock split because they want to get more shares out to the everyday, you know, person who can't get their shares right now at the current stock price. That just speaks volumes. So I'm going to let them do the speaking, swing on over here and provide you some information on those stock splits. So Apple's upcoming stock split will be its 5th since going public. The tech company split its stock on a 2-for-1 basis in 1987, 2000, and 2005. It then split its stock on a 7-for-1 basis in 2014. I really wish I was investing at that time, because Apple was my go-to when I first started investing. Its 2020 split will occur on a 4-for-1 basis, meaning every investor will see 4 shares for every 1 share they own. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on currently where I sit with this, but I want to really kind of dive into something and make you guys understand how valuable Apple truly is as a shareholder. So if you would have owned 100 shares of Apple back in 1987, with the stock splits and dividends, you would currently have, to today's date, 5,600 shares valued at roughly $2.3 million. Man, that is a lot of money and a lot of shares, and I'm pretty sure, you know, it's just, that would be the most amazing feeling to know that you did your research, you studied, you got into a company that is just this amazing so early on, you stuck with them through it all, and you are $2.3 million richer. That's unbelievable. Break down where I currently sit with Apple, and you guys know how I feel about Apple. It's one of my favorite stocks, and it was definitely my first investment when I first started trading. So I'm going to swing on over here and provide you that information. So I currently own 25 shares, actually 25.417. The 0.417 comes from dividends, and that is at $11,149.47. Currently, to today's date, that is up $2,000 and $2,030.08, which is up 22.26%. So as of right now, my average is $358.79. Since then, it's rose $79.87. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. My average was actually down in the 200s, but I purchased 17 shares 2 days ago. Well, actually Friday, and I purchased those 17 shares to complete the 25 share order in order for their split to get the 100 shares, which has always been my goal. My goal was always to at some point own 100 shares of Apple, and I don't plan on selling them anytime in the near future, if ever, just because that was always my vision, that was always my goal. And I early on when I had Apple, I had to sell in order to get the amount of shares that I had in Workhorse, and that's really benefited me too. But this video is about Apple, and so I wanted to share that with you guys, because I think it's good to be transparent. If I'm providing you a video, I want you to know what I have, and that I'm invested in this company and the passion I have for this company based on the amount of shares that I own. So I think that's very important, and I wanted to share that with you guys. We have officially come to the part of the video where we're going to really take a bite out of this stock, and that is chart breaking down time. So let's bite on into this thing and really break down Apple. So let's swing on over here. So today it opened at $436.53. It got as high as $443.16. Its low was $433.56. Its volume was 43.20 million, and its market cap 1.876 trillion. And it hit 2 trillion the other day, and I do believe it might have crept over that a little bit. Its 52-week high is 446.55, and we'll talk about that. Its 52-week low was 193.82. We'll talk about that too. And its average volume is 35.69 million. Today it closed at $438.66, which was up 0.67%. And in the after hours, it didn't do anything. It didn't go up or down. So it stayed at 0% at the close. Now we're looking at a 6-month chart. And this thing is just, it's a great feeling. So in February, we were pretty consistent. We were right around the 332 to 340 mark. And then obviously the dreaded coronavirus. And we know what happened with Apple and just everything across the entire world. Apple obviously had to start shutting down its stores, and its production was almost halted to zero. And Apple really took a monster hit. It took a huge dive in the month of March, and I do believe that's where we hit the 52-week low of 193.82. But since that mark of March 28th, 2020, which I do believe will go down in history in the stock market as one of the, really the turnaround points. It was the lowest point of the coronavirus. And since that point, we've just had monster runs with a lot of companies, and specifically Apple. As you can see with this 6-month chart, on that March 28th date, since that point, this thing has just gone up a staircase. And there's no better feeling, guys. I'm telling you, to be an investor into a company like Apple, knowing every day you're going to look at that share price and there's a good chance that it's going to be green, it's just it's an awesome feeling, and it's a reliable stock, knowing that you're going to get dividends as well. So as we're looking at this thing, it continued to climb April, May, June, July, and at the very end of July, we kind of had a little bit of a dip off. But then we had quarterly earnings. And obviously, like I stated previously in this video, when you beat earnings by 11% and you were estimated to get, negative, or you were down 2 to 3%, and you beat that and you were up 11%, that's what this will do. On top of that, you announced the stock split. This thing hit the 52-week high of $446.55. And that is just, it's awesome. Now the big question, obviously, do you invest now or do you invest after the split? And I'm going to do a video later on about that, and well after the split happens, because I want to see the progress, and I think you guys will want to see the progress too. As an investor, obviously in my situation, I'll have 100 shares. What's that 100 shares going to be valued at, say at the end of 2020, in the beginning of 2021, when quarterly announcements start to come out for quarter one? Where is this stock price going to be sitting at that point? History shows that there's a good chance that it's going to make a monster run after the split, and I'm just excited to see what happens. This is going to be one of many videos that I probably will complete on Apple in my entire YouTube time. I am sure that I will be talking about them down the road, and probably some significant move that they've made and how it's just impacted everything, especially as an investor. I mean, they really are making a worldwide impact and making the future better for everyone in every aspect. So you guys know how I do it. If you enjoy this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my channel. And as always, have a good day.